Welcome to the Hustle Skirt Podcast, the show that brings you economic equity for everyone, every day, with your host, Debra Gould. Yes, I am Debra Washington Gould, President and CEO of Debra Gould and Associate Inc., a New Orleans-based management consulting and performance management firm based in New Orleans since 1996. Please visit DGAI website at www.gouldassociates.com, where you can learn more about my management consulting offerings in training, facilitating, executive coaching, and keynote presentation. But today, we are here with my guest, Judy Nixon Swanier. But before I do her due credit and her credentials, let me tell you something about the hustle skirt. Just in case my guest Judy have family and friends and her business colleagues checking this out and you're hearing it for the first time, what is the Hustle Skirt podcast all about? I'm going to tell you again, it's about economic equity for everyone every day. But visit the website, www.persistencelane.com. There you will learn about the mission of the Hustle Skirt is to promote, educate, and amplify the influence of men and women entrepreneurs like my guests here today. We are for-profit businesses. And we also include our C-suite and higher executive in corporations and nonprofit. So you just never know who is going to show up on the Hustle Skirt podcast. So my big idea, why did I decide to do the Hustle Skirt? Well, my big why is I must be the change I want to see in others. My tenacious desire is greater than my fears. Do the hard things. And so if I can step up to the plate and let the world know of all the amazing services of small, minority, women-owned businesses, then I have done my part. It's about economic equity for everyone every day. So with that being said, the hard things, it's about be confident and self-assured. Don't take no for an answer. Give it all you got in your products and services that you deliver to your clients. So with that being said, I would like to welcome my guest today, Judy Nixon Swanier. How are you, Judy?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Debra, for bringing me in today. I greatly appreciate it. And just, listening to you for these last few minutes has kind of been motivating to me. So thank you so much.
Well, we're on the Hustle Skirt podcast, and that's just the way we roll. It's about abundance mentality, not scarcity. So if I know something about Judy, I want the universe to know about Judy today. And hopefully it will be for profit, phone ringing, and let's just have some fun with this interview today. So, to my listening audience, give me the pleasure to not only welcome Judy today, but to introduce this young woman to you. Judy Nixon Swanier, and let me put my other glasses on, is the owner and operator of JNX Partners, staffing and training agency. Congratulations to you, Judy.
Thank you.
JNX Partners provides extensive resources to clients through the global network of agency offices. Our strongest difference is our approach to identifying the potentials of under-realized talent. Way to go, Judy. That's your differentiation.
Yes.
Engaged and purpose-driven candidates excel. We focus on the company's opportunities and create the engagement for alignment with the candidate. This will ensure the highest level of employee retention, company performance, and employee satisfaction. JNX Partners, founded in 2005, Again, staffing and training services. So we don't get it twisted. JNX Partners LLC bring forth staffing and training. It's an independently owned and operated agency, woman and minority owned, associate with Management Recruiters International, MRINetwork. So I just shared a lot with my listening audience, but if you really want to make that connection and build that relationship with JNX, here's how you can reach her. Area code 770-868-6183. And her email address, I tell you better, let me give the website so that all of the contact information. And Judy, would you please give my audience the opportunity to also hear from you to share that contact information while we're here today? But the website, www.jnxpartners.com, www.jnxpartners.com. So with that being said, y'all, I want you to show our guest today some love. Visit that website, www.jnxpartners.com. So once again, I'm going to say to get laid back here, Judy, and say, welcome to the Hustlers Great podcast. Should we go ahead and start with some specific questions that I have for you?
Yes, please do.
So, Judy, my first question that I would like to engage you in, what qualities, if I can correct that, do you think every, every, every entrepreneur or career professional should possess?
Thank you, Debra, for this opportunity to be here today. And most importantly, just the focus of what you bring is so of what we're about. So I thank you again. When I talk about entrepreneurship as well as career, three things come to mind: flexibility, reading the room, and courage. By flexibility, obviously, as a business owner, you may have one vision, but then when you get into, if you will, the trenches, you realize you have to reorganize, restructure, and you have to be open to that. So often, sometimes I find people are stuck. So that flexibility is important. The other piece is reading the room, reading your audience. Once again, you have an agenda. I want to get this done. I want to sell this product. I want to do this thing. And you are not really looking at who you're trying to connect to. So reading the room is important, whether you're a business owner or you're just, and not just, but whether you're just a career person trying to move yourself up in your career. And finally, the thing that comes to mind, regardless of how many years you've been in the business, and I'm sure you can kind of chime in on this, is that you still have to have a certain level of humility while having courage. So those may seem to be counter thoughts or counter ideas, but they're not. Really, to have that courage, you have to be someone not to take yourself so serious. So those are my 3 points.
And I love all 3 points. I would like to say that was an excellent question, and your response was excellent. All 3 points. The very first one, flexibility.
Yes.
Reading the room, as well as courage. And that's something I like to share when I say hustle, hustle, hustle. You got to believe in yourself, but you got to be courageous and bold. Stand out. What makes you different and unique, but at the same time, humble yourself.
Yes.
Knowing that here you are in front of an opportunity, not only to sell yourself, but be grateful.
Right.
All right. I love that. Flexibility, reading the room, and courage. So we're going to move on to my next question here. What is the hardest part of being an entrepreneur or career professional? What is that hardest part? that you've experienced in JNX Partners?
As I bring back these memories, let's see. There's many parts to it. One is recognizing that the buck stops with you. So whatever decision is made, good or bad, you have to own it. You have to be accountable for it. And sometimes you're going to make some good decisions, and sometimes they will not be good decisions, but you still have to own it and move from there. So taking the ownership. The other piece has been a piece with me since even before the agency, because I was in sales and corporate sales. And it's kind of like, unless you don't eat unless you sell, unless you kill it, so to speak. So you only eat what you kill. So it's not like, oh, well, I go to work every day, I'm going to get, no, you're not going to get anything unless you are proactive and you make it happen. So production, production, production. And then
Ooh.
with that, the other piece, which kind of is important to remember with that drive for production, is to have balance, because it's so easy to kind of say, okay, I want to do this, particularly when you're starting off in your career. You want to kind of set an idea or structure on how I work. Yeah, you need to work hard, but you need to balance, because it's very easy for year one to become year five, and year five, year 10, and you haven't accomplished certain things that you want, and then that can create a problem. So balance, balance, balance.
Judy, that response to what is the hardest part of being an entrepreneur, you have truly blessed my audience today. I am a stickler to say that we have to own it and stand in it. Yes, we have choices, employment opportunities and contracting opportunity. When you stand in it as an entrepreneur and you have to make payroll, I
Yes.
say to my team, my consultants, at the start of the day, it is everybody's responsibility. But
Mhm.
in the shoes of an entrepreneur, at the end of the day, accountability rests on our shoulders. So
Yes.
the hardest part is trying to make it work.
Yes.
And something else that you said that was so key is the balancing. We juggle a lot of things and we take on a lot. So I would say that we have to find that balance, that harmony. You give a lot to the energy to the business to make it grow. Watch it 5, 10 in increments of 15, 20. But you still have to have that self care. You still have to show that attention to your team. I've been blessed, as probably as well as yourself, the loyalty in my 28 years. I still have the same senior consultants because
Wow.
one, they know Debra is going to pay them well, and secondly, and then for me, what makes me humble is to have that loyalty. So I find that balance to take good care of myself, but respect not only if they're providing services to Debra Gould and Associate, but maybe have that flexibility so that they can have balance with family, their
Yes.
community, and time to
Yes.
spend in worship in its church, and not just all about the business, giving me 14, 16 hours,
Right.
because we all need that balance. So
Right.
I think what you shared with the audience today is about that accountability piece and finding that balance. You can't put 16 to 18 hours in the business because you will wear yourself out.
Right. Right. And your business will not thrive for the long term,
And you're not
So
bringing your best productivity to
no,
be productive or
no,
effective or efficient if you're giving everything to the business. So I
no.
think your contribution today around the balance was critical. One final question. Who is your biggest role model?
Hmm. Wow. There's so many people that come to mind in this journey that we've been on as individuals and as business owners. But then when you start peeling back, and I said, who is that? What is that kind of started that engine, so to speak? And as many people, I have to go back to my parents, John and Eva Nixon, who were teachers and principals respectively in the South, raising four little chocolate people, which can be challenging in the South during that era, you know. But one of the things that we saw with them was just that persistence. Valuing education, valuing, ways to make yourself better. But what they also did was they brought people along with them. It wasn't just about their success. They brought their whole community. They did everything from, and I'm sure there's several stories of, they brought people to church, or they brought them to pay their bills, or they paid their bills, or did their taxes. I mean, those are the things that you do, and with no sense of what's the return. The return is that this is my community. When my community is stronger, I'm able to be stronger. So that sense of giving back while also giving to yourself, and being the best that you can be, being the very best that you can be. So that sense of wanting to do well in the business, but at the same time recognizing, as you said, the economics of it. I need to make sure that the people right here in the business are paid before I can do certain things. And I think sometimes we want to, let me help the community. You can help the community, but you have to be in a place to help the community. Otherwise, you're floundering and you're not able to really give your best self. So
we just had a moment where there was a second freeze. So we're going to move on. That was 3 great questions asked and 3 great responses, but I have to give a shout out to your parents. The wisdom that you just shared was magnificent. And I got to find out that there are 3 other siblings and the kind of contributions that your parents made.
Yes.
But it taught you to give back. And so that wisdom in terms of empathy, caring for others, and taking on responsibility. Thank you, parents, for creating this amazing woman here. So, Judy, those 3 questions went by fast, but I want to give you an opportunity before we leave this interview to talk some more. What else would you like my audience to know about JNX Partners LLC staffing and training agency? Take a minute to share your contact information. Let folks know what are some of the dynamic things that you're doing globally or in Atlanta proper.
Well, thank you. Thank you again, Debra. Well, our agency is www.jnxpartners.com. You can reach me at my email address, which is Judy, Judy.Swanier, SWANIER @jnxpartners.com. You can find me at those 2 sites. You can always look me up on LinkedIn if you want to, and I'll give you my phone number, which is 770-868-6183. And just to kind of tell you a little bit about what we're doing, we staff on the executive level, but we also have staffed in the clerical space as well. So if you have a need where you're thinking about, maybe we should hire someone on, or is this the right time? We also will consult with you. We'll consult with you to see where you are. Because I've seen clients after the fact that have come to us, and after we've spoken, they said, well, I kept this candidate, this person for 6 months longer than we should have. And that's the other thing. It goes back to the flexibility and ownership. When you make a mistake, i.e., if you make a bad hire, you need to address it and move on from it. Sometimes we make a bad hire and we're committed to making it work. Sometimes it does not work. And you need to separate yourself for a couple of things. First of all, financial. You're paying this person and you need to separate from them. Secondly, they're hurting the business, because if they're not performing, the rest of the team knows they're not performing. So you're affecting their performance, because they're like, well, how is this particular person staying on and they're not pulling their weight, but yet I'm asked to pull my weight. So it seems, after you walk it through with a client, it seems very matter of fact, I could have figured it out. But sometimes when you're in the midst of it, that therein lies the problem. So, we'll kind of work you through that. You may come out of it and say, hey, thanks for helping me. We don't need a hire. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that, because at the end of the day, we kind of follow some of the same principles that you do, Debra. I want a business to thrive. I want a business to thrive, because when I bring a candidate to a business, I want to make sure that business is a good business for them. So we look for strong businesses. We want businesses to be strong. We'll help you be stronger. So just a little bit about that.
Well, we'll end it there, and I have one final, if I can give me the skinny of it, because I'm looking at the fact that you were founded in 2005, and if you can share this in maybe 30 seconds or less, are there opportunities with your staffing and training where over the number of years have there been opportunities for partnering with other firms when you go after a bigger project?
Absolutely.
Or joint ventures? Can you speak to that in 20 seconds to 30
Absolutely.
seconds?
We're actually based in Atlanta, but we have done projects with firms out in California. We've done projects with firms in Maine. We've done projects, right now we're looking to do a project with an agency here in New Orleans. So, I mean, we know the area, so it's always great to have an opportunity to do it. So over the course of, the last 18, 19 years, we have done projects with other agencies. So it's not just candidates, but clients. If clients or businesses want to partner with us, we do.
And I want the audience to hear that, not just from your Atlanta headquarters and the candidates and how you try to work with your clients, but in your bio, I read where there's a global network. And so I wanted my audience to hear how your range geographically from a national, regional, or global level, not just where you're based in Atlanta.
That is,
and would you believe it or not, Judy Nixon Swanier, we are at the end of our Hustle Skirt podcast interview. So give me a moment just as we close out to remind folks what is the objective of the Hustle Skirt podcast is to empower you to speak power and embrace change in your own vision, mission, purpose, and get fired up with your own passion, just the way we learned about JNX Partners LLC today. But I want you to do something else. If you was pleased with this interview today, please make sure to visit the website www.persistencelane.com, where you can subscribe to the Hustle Skirt. And this interview with Judy today, there will be 9 platforms where you can watch it, from Apple's Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Amazon Music, just to name a few. But after I've had this opportunity and before I close out, you can also catch Judy on my YouTube channel, and you will have that opportunity. So there will be multiple ways to learn more about the services of JNX Partners LLC. And that website again, www.jnxpartners.com. And don't forget to check her out on all of my social media handles. You will also have that chance to see this interview today. So as I close today, just like to say that you are listening to the Hustle Skirt Podcast, the show that brings you economic equity for everyone, every day, with your host, Debra Gould. Judy, looking forward to seeing you in New Orleans. I'm coming to Hot Atlanta next month, and so hopefully we'll get a chance to make that connection.
Absolutely.
Bless me today, Judy.
Thank you.
Let's stay in touch. This was excellent. And say hello to Mom, because they raised an awesome young lady, okay? Until we meet again, take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.